Welcome everyone to Let's Talk Tuesday. Glad to have everyone on. If you are in the position to, please turn on your camera so we can see your shining, smiling faces. If at any time you have a question or some thoughts, if your camera is on, simply wave your hand. We will acknowledge you that way. If your camera is off, not to worry. You just scroll down to the bottom, click on participants. From there, you'll see a small blue hand that says raise hand. Click on that, and we will acknowledge you that way. I am about to get out of the way of greatness. Tonight's speaker for this evening is Dr. Shannon R. Clark, and I love the topic she is going to give to us this evening. So, Dr. Clark, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. I hope that you can hear me clearly. I want to thank you, Grace, for that wonderful introduction, as you always offer. Thank you. And again, I want to say good evening to everyone. I am so sorry I'm not able to put myself on camera, but it was either talk and have battery life or not talk at all. So I'm in my car connected to a charger, still at work, but this is my job as well. So tonight, really briefly, I wanted to introduce to some of you and add to for others to the concept of appreciative inquiry. I came upon this in my studies, studying conflict management, and appreciative inquiry is a model that has come up. It's not new, it's early 80s probably, but it's a way to deal with conflict that, to me, it reminded me of the law of attraction and creating your own reality and things like that, which is what pricked my interest about it. It's a 5D model, and I'm definitely not going to do it any grace in this call, but I will wet your palate with this so that you can say, I might want to read up more on this model. So it's a 5-step model. It involves defining, discovery, dreaming, design, and delivery. And so what the concept or the premise is, a conflict arises within your company, within a relationship, or a change is needed. And you're thinking of a way to present it to your staff, and it's not taken the way you are giving it. Sometimes I don't care how the vibration, how the awareness is in your organization or in your group or in your relationships. Every once in a while, if you're not careful with how you introduce change, you're going to get some pushback. You're going to get some, I'm not so sure about that. So appreciative inquiry stops it head on by first the define. And the define phase, it clarifies the project's purpose. It takes you back to your initial why. Okay, why are we doing this? Initially, what was the end goal for us coming together in this company, in this group, in this establishment, on this project? What was the purpose? And what is our desired future? So once you get that and you get that definition, you move on from that. That is the core. Not you're always changing things. Not I don't agree with this change. Not I can't do this. You take the definition of what you said you wanted and the why of why you're doing it, and you start there. This should sound very familiar. And then you go to discovery. And so discovery is the next step, and it causes you to inquire into the topic or remember things about why you got started. It operates on the assumption that when we want, that what we want already exists in our system, and it's just waiting to be discovered. Change is not new. Anything that somebody introduces to, if you have a trusted leader and that trusted leader introduces something to change the way things are operating, it isn't new. You need to go into discovery and find it where it existed in your initial plan, because somewhere in the reason why you started and somewhere in what you wanted for the future is exactly what your leader is requiring you to do right now. And through the discovery phase of appreciative inquiry, you will find that. Then the next step is the dream. This is an amplification of themes from these stories that you go back to. Oh, remember we talked about this, and remember so-and-so wanted this, and remember so-and-so wanted that. From those stories of the inception of your company or of your beginning, from those stories, themes will arise. And as you're going through each one of these steps, the initial problem, the initial conflict, the initial reason why you're having to have these conversations, it disappears, because what you have gone back to is the reason why you're doing what you're doing and how it started and how you wanted it to end. When we forget those first three steps, when we forget how we started, when we forget to keep remembering our why, then we push back against change. When initially in the beginning, at the onset of anything, you're willing to do whatever it takes to get it. And then leader applies the whatever it takes pressure and you push back. But when you do these steps of appreciative inquiry, it makes you let go of the pushback, because it reminds you that you said that you would do what it took to get what you wanted. And so when you go, it says the dream is stated as a provocative proposition. And it's something that is in your imagination, but it's not something new. It's something that has always been there. The next phase is the design. This is the what and how it should be. The design is the process of dialogue and brainstorming to determine how the future can be brought into the present. So now we're here. Let's do this again. How can what we want in the future be brought into what we have right now? The same as if you can see it, you can have it. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Somewhere along the way, when conflict enters, we forget that. We forget that there's a vision in our mind that we can hold in our hand. If we don't have the vision in our mind, we won't hold it in our hand. And so the design said, the design makes you think of your what. What is it that you want to hold in your hand? And by thinking of what you want to hold in your hand, it's already in your mind. And then the final stage is the delivery. And delivery, or some people like to call it destiny, the delivery phase is output. It's action plans. It's a way of maneuvering that's going to get you from where you have arrived to through this process to the future. Not even thinking about the fact that you were pushing back. So that's a brief, like almost regurgitated version of what appreciative inquiry is. Like I said, I would do it no grace. It is something that you really have to kind of dive into. It's so much deeper than what I just offered, but it is a way of dealing with conflict that can assist in helping people remember what started. It can be used in marriages, it can be used in companies, it can be used in friendships, because so many times conflict arises and we forget the nature of where we started. We forget that we said we would do what it takes to make it to the end. And so this 5-step process, 5-model process, does a great job at helping you to remember your why and then developing an action plan to go from where you are right now to continue to get to the future you said that you wanted. That is all that I have. I hope, if nothing else, all I wanted to do was to prick your interest and make you want to go do a Google search for appreciative inquiry and read some more about it. If I did that, then I did my due diligence. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Shannon Clark, for appreciative inquiry. Now the floor is for anyone who would like to ask a question, share some thoughts, or just pour back into Shannon. All right. Again, wonderful job to Dr. Shannon Clark for appreciative inquiry. All right. Mr. Phil, go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to appreciate Shannon for her time and her effort and her willingness to share. So we'll start there. But I've got a very practical example about the whole concept of appreciation. My partner in the bank stock business had a little Yorkshire Terrier that was like a buddy. We would carry him around with us. He'd go with us on the road. He was just our friend. And one day he was down near a lake, and all of a sudden he heard the dog choking. And he went up to the dog, and the dog had a fishing line coming out of his mouth. He literally had swallowed a fish hook. But my partner had the presence of mind to praise it at that moment. And he said, "Dear God, I'm not sure what this is all about, but I'm giving you praise that this happened, and I offer it up to you." At that moment, that fishing hook popped out of the dog's mouth. Now, you may call that a coincidence. I call it a coincidence. And just from a vibrational point of view, if he would have gotten anxious, if he would have gotten worried, if he would have gotten depressed, the dog would have picked up on those vibes and probably constricted his throat so the fish wire could not have popped out. But because they had the presence of mind to appreciate the situation, no matter what was going on at that moment, he was able to manifest that miracle.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Phil, for your thoughts and comments. Shannon sent me a message saying that she had to go and do a presentation. She is getting her PhD, but she did a marvelous job, wonderful job on her topic this evening. Shannon is not with us much because of the PhD program and PhD she is getting. And so in the times that she is here, she always is an inspiration and does a wonderful job on everything that she speaks on. Thank you again, Mr. Phil, for your thoughts. Is there anyone else that had any thoughts on tonight's topic?
Shannon did an amazing job. I'm excited for the follow-up on appreciative inquiry. Definitely learning a lot with that and needing to start applying it now. So thank you very much, Shannon. You did a great job this evening. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Deanna. Is there anyone else who would like to share some thoughts before back into Shannon? Go ahead, Maurice.
Yeah, I like to thank Shannon for her thoughts on, for the reminder of engaging in redefining, and defining defining the purpose, and defining what it is, and then going back to when there's any sign of turbulence or pushback, to recommit to what the agreement was, so if I agree to maybe set a goal that I want to, reach a certain goal for the month, and at any point I start to slack off, or the members of the team that I'm working with start to slack off, it does work to go back to, okay, let's revisit why we started this in the first place. So it is a reminder, and it's real. So I'm appreciative of that it's a reminder to kind of, re-employ that tactic of, going back to the basics of what it was and why we had this agreement. What was the commitment? So if we had an intention of meeting an expectation of, a certain point at the end of the month, and something slows down, then let's go back to the beginning. What was it? Revisit. What was it? It's almost like, if you ever been to marriage counseling, the first thing the counselor does is they take you back to the beginning. Hey, how'd you guys meet? Let's start. Bring me to a pleasure moment. Think about some of the times that you bring us back to the beginning. They bring you back to the beginning of those things to kind of spark that life back again. So give you that spark of life back again, and that same thing applies with anything. So that was the takeaway I got from it. And like you said, I think Deanna said about the application of it. That's my takeaway. Thanks for letting me share that.
You're very welcome, Maurice. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and comments. All right. I know Lisa Jones put some comments in the chat as well. She was saying she was having problems like that with a 37-year-old that she put on the streets because of the conflict he causes. And so I know Shannon greatly helped her. Lisa, was there anything that you would like to say? Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Well, is there anyone else who would have any comments or just like to pour back into Shannon? Because I know she'll go back and look at the recording that we have. All right. All right. Well, if nothing else, thank you all so much for joining us this evening on Let's Talk Tuesday. For those of us who are in the Bureau of Dominant Speakers, we have a special training this evening at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Bureau of Dominant Speakers. The training will be how to turn a radio/podcast interview into cash. And I'm looking forward to hearing that training on this evening. So again, thank everyone for joining us for tonight's Let's Talk Tuesday, and we will see you all next time. Love you more, Phil. Everybody take care.